Well, here we are in Gazzers bar and Gazzers workshop. I think we need to put some light on. So just got some updates for you. I've got a new camera. I've got the latest GoPro 13. So I've got the wide angle lens on, but you can adjust it so it's not that wide angle. So what's new? First of all, important one, because Duncan has not been around a lot, eh? So his workshop is now officially open again and open for actual business, right? So you'll have to negotiate a price with him, but he's actually open for business, which is really, really good news, because as you know, if you've watched any of our videos from the past, he's actually a really, really accomplished mechanic. So that's the important stuff. Now my stuff, beer time. I've been working on my news channel a lot, which has been winding me up. Not a good thing, especially if you're in the UK. Muslims. Nope, not mentioning them. So what have I actually been doing in my workshop? So I've been doing a lot of drinking lately. Here, the flip-flops. They call them jandals here. They're leather ones, they're not the cheap plastic ones, and it's still winter here, and it's not too bad. Now, obviously you know that's my daily ride. Have a look. I just did a video last week of me going to work in the rain on the motorway, and it's most probably the worst ride I'd ever had on a scooter, because we had the wind and the rain and it was really, really heavy. Lucky it was 5 in the morning, there weren't a lot of traffic, which was really, really good, but I got wet even though I had all my wet weather gear on. So have a look at that. It's sort of somewhere in an earlier post, that's the last post actually. So I'm selling her most probably at the end of the year, and I'm going to go for the 310, which I'll then review that, because you know I've done a review on this one as well. Also another update, the NZ, for those that are interested, it's a very limited market. Hang on, we're going out. It's a very limited market, the NZ, because obviously it's just for the Kiwis and there ain't that many around. So part 2 is coming soon. We're collating some images and videos, and then I'm going to go this time around Greg's with his son and see what they've been up to, because they're trying to get it registered in New Zealand now, which is a bit of a hassle. So that would be that. Also, spring's nearly here, so what we're going to do, I will document and go through this one. I most probably will have it looking as the Rally Master, but it's going to be totally stripped. I'm going to set up camp up here and build a spray booth, and I'm going to spray it myself when it's warmer. So I'll do all of that myself, start to finish. This is, if you remember, this is going back about 8 years, look. The Fenwick. So it was our sponsor at the time. Duncan and I, we had a sponsor, Jason, and he would sell this sort of environmental friendly stuff that you shouldn't drink, so I don't know if it's that friendly. So anyway, that was the Fenwick. I'm waffling now, I'm trying not to be horrible. So anyway, I don't know what to do with that. Last week I was gonna cut it up, then I used bits off it, and then I thought, oh, this deserves not to be cut up. So what I was going to do was cut across here and then mount it up on the wall. Right, that's original, by the way. I got that from my local record shop back in what was the cardiac arrest, so that'd be 1981. That's the original I picked out of the shop. Obviously you've seen that before in my Lambretta journey. That's from my bedroom I got in when I was 16, 1979, and that also, that picture was on my bedroom wall. You can't see from here, but there's a picture of me in my bedroom in 1981. So I don't know what to do with it. It's Indian, so it shouldn't really matter, but they don't actually make them no more, do they? And it did really, really, really well. It was my daily ride for about a year. I don't know what to do with it. It's got a 200 set of casings, but it needs a total rebuild, so I'm gonna have to buy everything for it. Now, important one, Rusty. You know Rusty, I only called it Rusty because of the twins kept saying it was Rusty when they were little. Look at that. That's good. You get the line, I'm getting it. So I've had this a few years now. I've got one in the background there, my race scooter, my big fat ass. So I've got a wrap coming from Temu, and it's rust, silver rust, and I'm going to see if I can wrap that. I used to be an upholsterer, so I'll do a mini upholstery on the centerpiece of that. But this history, so I've already done the history on this. Yes, it is certified. It is certified. So this guy gave it to me about 8 years ago. Let's see the shine on that lot. There's so much lacquer on this, it's never going to rust anymore. So calipers I've done as well. I got that from SIP. SIP, of course, that's down. I'm now adjusting that because it's a bit. The problem being, I'm waffling a bit, but the problem being with this, when you go on the GTS 300 and then you go on this, everything seemed a bit too loose and it's hard to get used to again. So I'm now tightening everything up, making it a little bit more solid, and so hopefully that will work. But look at this. What I don't like about Vespa, sorry you Vespa guys, you get this big fat ass and you got this skinny little 10-inch wheel. Look at mine. No, not that. That's my grandchildren's cars. Look at that. It's not centered right, so I would realistically have to cut part off that side and stick it back on that side. I've done it before with my race scooter. I'm going to see how it handles first. I don't mind it off center if it still handles the same. But look at that fat boy. And it's an old SIP rim. Again, Christian gave me the rim. So I've got the panels, of course, over there. But look at that. I think that's more well balanced. It looks meaty. Problem being, guys I go out with, they're all mainly Lambrettas, 200, 225s, tuned. This is only a Polini 177, and I quite like it. It'll sit on the motorway all day, 100 km/h, no problem. So we'll have to do lots of sweepy corners, and then I'll keep up with them, or they'll have to keep up with me and Duncan, won't they? There's some videos of me and Duncan going hair raising round. I've got videos of Duncan when he used to go out in a pair of training shoes and shorts. So this is what I'm now concentrating on for myself. Drinking beer, of course. There's a few Kiwis here that think I am one, so I bought the sticker. Why not? That represents about 21 years of scootering. Gert's organised that. No, he did. Gert's organised that. The German guy now lives in Melbourne, bless him. Yeah, he doesn't speak to me either. It was called the Copper Coon. And there were certain people coming along, not me, but a few people coming along he didn't like, so he didn't go. So Damien got the sticker together and he called it not the Copper Coon. Kiwi fucking scooter, man. You couldn't make it up if you tried. Obviously, the scooter club I started, Magnetos, we had about between 160 180 paid up members. This was where the Magnetos split into two different factions because Michael Davies, who organised this, because there wasn't going to be a scooter rally, so Michael said to me, should I organise one? I said, yeah, go for it. So he organised that, and then the other pricks in the club said, oh, we're going to do one now, when they weren't going to do one. But Michael, anyway, he did this rally. He was the one that imported all of these scooters, the LMLs, bleeding hundreds of them, and good on him, because that's promoted scootering. So anyway, with the Polini, the Scoot RS works really, really well. Really shame that Scoot RS is not going. I've changed all the front end on this because I don't like the old one, and that was on the Fenwick, and I've now put it on here. And I always like a semi-race tyre. I always have liked a semi-race tyre. So workshop's looking pretty bad at the moment. I'm going to change my workshop as well. I'm going to try and keep up with Duncan. I want it cleaner. I want everything cleaner. I've got stuff everywhere, you know. These spark plugs, I'm going to turn it into a clock. These are all used. I got these out of a skip. Yes, I do go in skips. When I used to be in the house clearances, and I always said the best stuff was always in a skip, and it was true. So that's it. If you want to follow me, I do have my news reel, and I do it as a live show once every 2 or 3 weeks. I don't do it from in here, I edit in here. but that's about it. I don't use a green screen now. I actually use the bar and then I edit in later on. But it's the next one, if you're into nutrition, some nutritionist as well as a personal trainer, I'm going to be talking about your food and what's in your food. So there's a little plug for my other show. I think it's Gazzers World Media, something like that. There's about 100 of us, that's all. We talk about anything from chemtrails to politics to the Muslim invasion of the UK. Yes, I'm allowed to talk about it here. You can't in the UK because you're being buttoned up and you know it. So I talk all about that as well. But apart from that, oh, the sun's on it now. Don't you think that's well balanced now? I think that's gorgeous. Absolutely. So I've cut this down because that's where we had this plastic piece of shit on the back of these LMLs. So now I'm going to cut down the side panel so it'll flow in. Otherwise it'll be a lump sticking down here. I was going to take the start motor off. Heavy thing. So I don't know. Maybe I will upgrade it. Oh, one other thing. So this is the old Magneto Scooter Club. I'm going to recess that in there so that sits in the front. Alright. I'm waffling now. So I'm now going to have a bit. Oh, where did I put my beer? There we are. I can hear it calling me. Yeah. Good day. Oh, I won that fastest quarter mile there at that event. On that I won at another event in Nelson. I'm trying to remember now, just bear with me. In Nelson, I had the biggest balls. That was round an old, it was a semi-dirt track, but it also had a lot of rocks and bloody Jesus. There's a video on YouTube somewhere about it. And then I won this little one. It was the endurance 50 lapper on the old girl, and yeah, I won the 50 lapper. Someone, this is how pathetic it is in New Zealand, this twat, his surname's Cock, he turned and said, you only won because I didn't turn up. Things we deal with in New Zealand, eh? They really are, cocks. So that's it in Gazzers Bar. Come Gazzers Workshop, Duncan and Gary's Sunday Workshop. As I said, I'm going to go around and we're going to start doing some filming with Duncan, some of his stuff. We're going to do some funny stuff again, but with a good edge to it. We're getting a little bit more professional because Duncan now is actually charging money. So that's it. Please make a comment if you want us to talk about anything or not talk about certain things. Other than that, you have a good one, folks, and some more stuff on the way. Have a look at some of my rides. I try and make them funny, right? I try, not funny, I try and make them so they look like it could be you on that scooter and like in the rain. And I used Cozy Powell, Dancing with the Devil. It just worked. Then I did another one before Riding in the Storm, and that was another wet ride during the day. The Doors, obviously, and then there's one with a Slade. Oh, that was brilliant. Slade, my favourite group. So have a look at some of them, and if I see the likes or the views, then I'll do more. So you think, oh, just cheap, easy videoing. So the video, and I'll just explain, on the yellow scooter last week, Dancing with the Devil, that took me, it was a 15-minute video because I used two different cameras, this one on the front, and then I used my 360. To edit all that together down to 3.5 minutes takes 3.5 hours. You only got 100 likes. Views, whatever. Anyway, I'm now going to play Mrs. Mills because I do on my other ranty show. She's a classic. There's a fan club, there's 2 of us in it. There's stuff going on. I'm now going to put on Yes Minister, and you have a good day, folks, and we will get on to some really good stuff soon. Ta-da!